morning. It is a Sunday, noon. I woke up pretty late today. I kept waking up and sleeping. I had a really pretty heavy Indian dinner last night, so I'm just having some tea this morning. Although, I am excited about the leftovers. I have a little bit of rice, and I think I have like a samosa left. It was good though. I tried out this like new Indian restaurant. It's like when I used to live in New York, there was like an Indian spot like right down the street from me, like literally like at the end of the block. Super cute. Owned by like this really cute Indian family, and their daughter would like help out. And I would always order Indian food from them, like all the time. Like I was always there. It was so good. And the thing that I remember about the chicken tikka masala was that it had like a really nice sweetness to it. I don't know if it was like the cream, they put sugar, or I don't know how they made it so sweet. But I can't find chicken tikka masala that way in LA. Like I just can't. I don't know. I've tried so many different Indian restaurants and they all make it really savory. I don't know. I guess I'm just like trying to find that one perfect recipe. They did have really good naan though. The place I ordered from was pretty good. I hope everyone's watching this had a great week. I just feel like the holidays are like pretty chill. Like everyone's kind of like, you know, not really checking emails and kind of just like doing their own thing. I don't know, that's how I feel during the holidays. Just like more like lethargic, just want to like vibe and like hang out. I had a bunch of like work interviews this week, which is really exciting. Now that I'm getting like laid off of my job like in the summer of this year. That wasn't fun. I really liked my job. I liked the team that I was working with. It was cool. I guess it is what it is. It took a little while to like just kind of deal with the trauma of that, you know. It sucks, you know, you spend so much time and effort and you make these really great relationships in the workplace, and then it's just like, oh, we don't need you anymore. It's like devastating. So if you've ever experienced like a massive layoff like that, like just know that you probably need some time to like chill. Like take a couple of weeks if you can, or maybe a month or two, and like that's what I did. I just like traveled and like focused inward and just got really like inquisitive about like what I wanted to do in my life, like what company I wanted to interview with next, like what values, like what I wanted to do, and then like start searching for it. Again, that's if you have like the luxury of like being able to take that time off. I know a lot of people can't, which sucks. What else did I do this week? I had like a bunch of like I had a bunch of like podcast interviews. It's really fun. That's really exciting. I'm actually really loving the growth of my podcast. You know, I started that like maybe 2 to 3 years ago. For sure 3 years ago. Just like as like a side passion thing. Like I was bored and I was like, oh, I should start a podcast. That'd be really fun. Well, I was gonna start it with a friend, and then I don't know, she wasn't serious about it. So then I was like, you know what, I actually think this is really fun. I have something to say, so I'm gonna start that. And if you're not listening to that, I encourage you to do so. My podcast is called The Bait Escape. Bait being short for masturbation. And it's basically us podcast on solosexuality. So I talk, like the first season, it was just me talking, like just like life stuff and like from my own perspective. And then it just kept growing, and then like the more people listened to it in like the Bator community and like the solosexual community, people were just like, oh, you should have guest on. I was like, oh, you're right, like who's gonna want to be on my podcast? And then I just reached out to someone, and then they were like, yeah, let's just talk about it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like there was actual people like willing to talk about this stuff and like, you know, wanting to grow community, which is really nice. It's like the second season, I was like booking guests, just like people that I wanted to talk to about stuff in the community. And then that started growing, and then more people started taking notice of it. And then I started talking to like sex work professionals and like people like doing good work in the community, like authors, writers, product makers of like sex toy goods. I have a couple of episodes lined up already. I have a lot of editing to do. Fuck. They take a while. Because I think in the beginning I was like, oh, I don't want to edit this. Like, I don't want it to be work. And then I realized like, oh, there's things that like don't sound good on the air. Like just a lot of pauses, a lot of what, like just really like weird noises that we do when we're speaking. And so I edit my episodes now. It's nice to be able to like, you know, take a listen before they like go live and fix any issues that they may have. And then also to like moved over to the YouTube space, so like that's another editing process. So what once took me 0 time would like now take me like 2 to 4 hours per episode. I like it though. It's fun. It keeps me busy. You know, I love being able to like revisit these conversations and like, you know, kind of edit out what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So that was really fun. So yeah, I also had a bunch of like job interviews this week, which is really exciting. I'm looking for a full-time job right now because YouTube ain't paying yet. Really, what would be really, really key would be like a hybrid schedule. That's nice. Like to be able to choose which days to go into the office. That's really good. I feel like the world, just like after the pandemic, that's what everyone's like used to. Like we all had to be on lockdown, so everyone went to home anyway. So now people are just like, I ain't going back to the office, bruh. Like, I'm gonna sit in my PJs and like do work from home, and it's effective. I think people, you know, if you love your work and like you're good at it, like it doesn't really matter where you're sitting. Like, you know, you could basically just do it. If you have a computer, the internet, a cell phone, you could do your job anywhere really. Be nice, right? Let's just do your job on a beach in Hawaii. That sounds really fun. I've never been to Hawaii. I feel like I need to go to Hawaii. I have no idea what I'm going to do today. I gotta answer a bunch of emails. Maybe I'll like call a friend, hang out. Maybe I want to go get some boba. I love boba. There's a really great boba place near my place that has really good boba. Make some good fucking tea, man. Maybe I'll do that. I've been thinking a lot about like the new year. I was talking about it on my podcast, and like I left that conversation and I was like, God, the new year is gonna come up so fast, and I don't know. I've never really had a thing for New Year's. Like it was always just like a different holiday. I think because the reason why I was growing up, I grew up in a very religious home, and so New Year's was always celebrated at church. Like, we'd be in church at the strike of midnight, which is always so weird to me. Like, I just never liked it. I was like, why do I have to be celebrating Jesus during the New Year's? And then I decided I was like never gonna do that again in my life. I grew up in a very religious home. Fuck. Like, almost devastatingly religious. I don't know, man. I grew up Baptist Christian. Can you imagine that? It was tough. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, especially me, like, a budding homosexual. Like, trying to just, like, figure out who I am and, like, love me, and, like, own that side of me. There was no way that was happening at home, especially now with the church. Like, it was very, very difficult. I had a very difficult upbringing. My family was not accepting, and it was tragic, man. It was fucked up. I don't know. I think for a long time I had like a lot of shame about telling people that, like telling that story, but it's my truth, and I feel like I've come to a place where I'm not at peace with it, but like I'm more comfortable in that space, just knowing like, hey, like my coming out was like really traumatic, and you should know my story so that you can like understand how it affects people. Like, when you don't let people be themselves, like, it can result in really devastating things, like a lot of mental health issues, and feeling insecure, feeling that you're not worthy, or just like all these really bad feelings about yourself. It's just a lot of shame too. Like, it's horrible. And then you just live your life that way. Like, it starts young because they notice that you're gay young, and then it kind of goes into like your teenage years. And man, my teenage years were bad. When I think about them now, I'm just like, God, I was like a menace. But there was a reason behind all that shit. Like, I was just like acting out because I was just like, you don't love me, like you don't see me, like what am I supposed to do? I'm trying to get your attention, so I'm gonna freak out. I didn't think that's a normal reaction to have. I think, like, you deny someone who they are for so long, there's gonna come to a point, like a boiling point, and it's all gonna just explode. So like, I think people who like have gay children, or suspect that their child is gay, like, it's in your best interest to nurture and foster them, because if you don't, they're gonna deal with a lot. They're gonna deal with a lot of insecurities, and like masking and hiding, and then when you're doing that, you're so busy masking and hiding who you are that you're not focusing on other positive qualities of your life, and then your quality of life just deteriorates, and then you start acting out. Like, you get into trouble, man. I know I did. Yeah. It was rough, not gonna lie. And it's even weirder when like you don't know yourself as a gay person, and then you enter gay spaces. Like, that's a whole other can of worms, man. Like you're not secure in who you are, and like you're trying to like chase what gay is supposed to be. Like you look at people and you're just like, oh, that's what good gay is. Like, you have all these like representation in media that you see, but it's not representative of who you are as a gay man, or a gay person. And you're just like, is that what I'm supposed to be? Like, I'm supposed to be funny, or am I supposed to be that hot? Because I don't have abs like that. So then you start like, that's why like so many like gay dudes that's why so many gay dudes have like body issues and shit, because like we're always trying to chase that clout of like beautiful hair and like perfect abs and nice teeth and cool clothes. Like, that's what we were shown, man. Like, growing up back in the day, it was a different time, man. It's wild. And then put on top of that, being a person of color, and then you have to deal with like other things like racism and fetishism, and you're just like, yeah, like, get me out of here. It can be really tough. It can be really, really hard. It can be really hard for someone that's non-white in the gay space. But, you know, you do your best and you find your footing, and you know, you do what works best for you. And, you know, it wasn't all that bad. Trust me, I had a good time. You know, when you're young in the early 20s and you're like out on the scene, you like get a group of boys and you're just like literally out at the club. That's what I did. Like, when I think back on it, I'm just like, that's so dumb. Like, it was so silly of me. Like, I was literally like at the clubs like every weekend, like partying. And I was like, for what? Like, getting wasted and like waking up with hangovers. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that now. Like, that's so stupid. I guess when you're young, it like makes sense, you know. Just get out of your system. But just don't go ham. Like, really pace yourself. Trust me, that shit gets boring so quick. Like, day in and day out, or like every weekend. Every weekend going to the club and seeing the same people, like doing the same fucking thing. Like, it's exhausting. I don't know. I try not to have regrets in my life, but I feel like that's probably one of the biggest regrets that I had. Like, I could have spent that time doing something really productive, like traveling. Ooh, that would have been good. Like traveling to like different countries and like volunteer work, and I feel like that's would have been like a really fun thing to do. I've met people who have done that. I always like relish in their stories. I'm like, oh, tell me more. Like, what'd you do, dude? Like, you went to fucking Japan? Fuck yeah. Or like, oh, I got to go to New Zealand and like slept in a cabin in the middle of woods on like a hillside. I'm like, I want to do that. Doesn't that sound cool? Or like they'd go to like these, you know, third world countries and then like volunteer to help like build homes and shit and like run like kitchen factories. I don't know. I think that's a pretty awesome. Like, I wish I could do that now. So yeah, I've been thinking about the New Year a lot. I'll do for New Year's. Do y'all go out? Do y'all get like dressed up and like spend it with like friends or family? Both? You know, do you go to a club or do you stay home? I can't remember the last time I went to a bar for New Year's. And that's the thing too, like on New Year's, like these clubs will charge like crazy amounts of money for like some shit buffet. And again, same people. Well, if you like live in the same area, you're constantly going to these places, which I did. You'll always see the same people, and you're just like, oh, great. Now I know what you look like with a suit on. Amazing, great. Well, but just the idea of like being surrounded by like a ton of drunk, like gross people. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Although I won't say no to a house party. I love a good house party. Like, I love going to someone's like beautiful home and like bringing like some wine or something to eat and just like hanging out and like really low key vibes. Like, maybe the patio's open, so you're like, you know, you get like kind of strolling out of the home and have really good food, and you know, you get to actually have a conversation with people. Like, you're meeting people and you're just like, oh, like, how are you? What do you do? Like, what are you about? That's always nice. Very low key. I love that better than like having to get dressed up and travel and like stand in line for something, and like, that's lame. I don't know. I think I'm gonna be in Vegas for New Year's. I think that's the plan. I got invited out to stay with an ex-coworker of mine, which I'm so grateful for. And she's just like, yeah, like, come on down. Like, we'll fucking get in some PJs, fucking cook some really good food, get toasty, and like just watch like comedy movies all night, and then we'll like go to sleep, wake up, and then go back to sleep. And I'm like, that sounds so much fun. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go to Vegas. I'll probably do like a vlog about it and then put it up on the YouTube channel, like my adventures or like what that was like. I think it'd be really fun. But I just like started to like think about like what I want to do in the new year. Like, there's so many things. Like, it's crazy because like I feel like there's a lot of things happening right now. Like at the end of the year, like there's a lot of job interviews. Like the podcast is getting a lot of attention. You know, I just started up the YouTube, so I feel like, you know, I got to stick on this train. Like I got to keep going and really do some really fun stuff with all this stuff that I'm doing. So I really hope like in the new year, in the first couple of months, like my goal is to like make things better, get more attention, and everything's building, you know. So thanks, you know, whoever's watching this, you know, who's ever subscribing and liking all my shit, like thank you. Like I really do appreciate it. Like I just want to start my business of like, you know, I think ultimately the goal for me would be like to be a really cool podcast host and to be like a writer and a personality and like travel and talk about like a solosexual lifestyle and the health benefits of masturbation, and because I think there's like so much misinformation out there, and I need to get better about that information too. Like I need to get better at like what are really the health benefits, and like talk to like medical professionals and like therapists and like talk about like why it's good to like have a healthy masturbation lifestyle. So that's what I want to do. Maybe that's like where the podcast can evolve, you know. Like right now I'm just talking to like my friends and like sex workers in the industry, which is fun. I love talking to them and knowing what they do with their lives. But I think you know, I think it'd be really wise to like start introducing like an educational aspect to my podcast, like talk to therapists and doctors and sex therapists and like really get their perspective, and share that knowledge. So that's cool. I really want to date in the new year. I don't know, like, it's been so long since I've been on for like a date. Like all of 2023, like I didn't date anyone. Like I didn't meet people for, you know, I didn't go to dinners with anybody. I didn't meet anybody for dinner. Like I didn't like get to really know someone deeply in a romantic way. And I feel like I don't know, I've just been saying that for the past few years, and it just never happened. Maybe because I just don't put focus in that. Maybe because I'm deathly afraid of dating. If anybody out there has like dating anxiety, you're not alone. Like it's so difficult for me to like show up and like be present and be myself on a date and be like, this is me, what do you think? Like, do you want to keep doing this or not? And then also, especially someone that's like solo sexual, solo polyamorous, like how do you have that conversation? Like that's like fuck. If I was dating me, I'd be like, can you let's unpack that. Like we need to talk about what all that means in a potential relationship. Like how do you even find a relationship? Like how, that's always been so bizarre to me. Like how do you look at someone or go on a date and someone and be like, you are the one that I want to spend my life with? Like who does that? Does that even happen anymore? I don't know. Although I am pretty bad at cruising. Like if I go to a bar or like a space where people want to like, if I get checked out, I get really uncomfortable and I'll just look back on people and be like, what the fuck are you looking at? Like I have no sense of like social cues. When people are flirting with me, I have no clue about that shit. Like it just goes, I don't know, man. I've missed so many cues. It's pretty embarrassing. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to commit to dating in the new year, like I can't be like a lazy lion about it, you know? Like I really have to go for it. I have to be really intentional about those things. Maybe I've just been looking like in the wrong places. Maybe I should like look in spaces that are more like polyamorous friendly. I should talk to more people that are polyamorous. That's what I'm going to do. I think that's a good place to start. Like just like, you know, start asking questions and be like, where do you hang out? Like, who are you talking to? Like, what online apps are you using? Yeah. The new year. I feel like I want to just, I feel like I'm going to be really busy in the new year, which is so good. I love being busy. I love working, you know, growing a business, getting a following. It's gonna be good. It's gotta be good. 2024. You know, like I was saying, like I've never been like a big New Year's Eve guy. just never really paid attention to it. Like, it was always just kind of the day, you know, okay, great, party, shit face, it's a new year. But like, I don't know, like, I just find myself reflecting a lot right now, you know, like, there was a lot of things that I went through in 2023, you know, we all did, you know. I feel like we should honor that shit, man. Like, just like think about like all the hardships that you went through, and like all the successes and the failures, and you know, the things that you could have done better, the things that you will do better, and just like hold space for that, you know, however long that takes. It could be a couple of hours, it could be a day, it could be a week, a couple weeks, you know, really process like what you went through, and like, you know, give yourself, you know, kindness, and like just be like, yo, I'm gonna do better in the new year. Like, yeah, I could have worked on that. Or like, maybe accountability is what I'm trying to say. Like, hold yourself accountable for like things that, you know, you took part in, and how you can improve upon those things. And anything, it could be your work, family, relationships, your pets. That's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about getting a dog in the new year. I just gotta get a better like space for it. I wonder what it would be the year of. The year of the dog. What was this year's? The year of the pig? Let me see. Oh, it was the year of the rabbit. What about 2024? Ooh, 2024 is gonna be your year of the dragon. That's cool. I don't think I'm a dragon. I think I'm a dog. Or a pig. I'm definitely a pig. I definitely want to get back in therapy in 2024. I feel like that's something that I took a break on last year, and I miss it. It definitely helped when I was doing it. And I want to track down my old therapist. She was really good. I really enjoyed her. I feel like I had gone through like so many therapists before I settled down on her. And it's so important, like when you go into therapy, like it's so important to find that person that gets you and that you jive with, and like you have a connection, you know, and then like know your whole story, you know. And it's difficult to like search for a new therapist and like relive all that trauma and like retell all these like hardships. Like that shit's hard, man. It's just really difficult to like start over those conversations. So, you know, if I find her, I'll let you all know, and then you know, I'll let you know how all that works. But I do miss it. It was really helpful. All right, I'm gonna finish the rest of this tea. Then I'm gonna get some of those Indian leftovers. Check some emails, do some editing, maybe watch a movie later. Oh, you know what I saw last night? The Equalizer 3. Do y'all watch these movies? It's Denzel Washington. Fucking badass, dude. He's so scary. I was like watching this movie, man. And I was like, bro, like, how are you so frightening? And they're so good. Like, the Equalizer 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 of them. If you haven't checked them out, do it. It's so good. This third one was pretty chill. I don't think it was the best. I feel like the second one was the best. Although I don't hardly remember that one. I should rewatch that one. But that was a really good movie. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for watching, and you know, hopefully you're enjoying, you know, some breakfast or some tea with me. This is just, you know, weekly vlog videos of just me, kind of my week, and you know, it's an opportunity to like for us to like hang out and get this. You know, I make these so you all can get to know me better as a person. I think that's what I'm missing in my content. So it's fun to be able to talk about shit that, you know, shit that I'm into in my life, and hopefully you all enjoy it. Again, I hope you all have a really great Sunday, and that you have an amazing week ahead. And you know, I'll check you all in the next vlog video.